Hey guys, so I've got a really exciting video for you today. We're going to be talking about the new Chanel Cruise 2019 collection. Let me just quickly tell you what I picked up so you can be sure that you're going to be interested in the content of this video. So I picked up the quad, the eyeshadow quad. I also picked up the bronzer highlighter illuminator in Claire. This is the lighter of the two. I also picked up all three of the new Stylo Ombre contour pencils. And I also picked up both of the eyeglosses, Solaire and Lunaire. So I'll be doing some close-up product shots of everything, swatches of everything. I'll also be doing a demo of everything. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. I've already put down a base of the Chanel Water Fresh tint. Down, I also have a little bit of concealer. I have some of the Sicily Stylo Lumiere down, and then I have a little bit of the Chanel Natural Finish loose powder kind of dusted all over my face just to kind of set everything down. So let's start with the bronzer and highlighter duo. Again, I have it in the shade Claire. Let's take a close look at this product. So we have a split pan. We have the bronzer on the left and then the highlighter on the right. Here are some swatches of both shades. And your first thought, along with my first thought, is that bronzer deep enough? I am not sure. We're gonna have to find out together. It is definitely very, very pale in terms of a bronzer, but we'll see. I'm willing to give anything a shot. So I've got my Refer 04 angled cheek brush here. I'm gonna go into this bronzer side. I see the faintest of faint kind of shadowing going on there, but I really don't see much going on. Let me see if I just use this as an all-over bronzer, if my complexion just seems a little bit deeper. No, I don't think that powder is doing anything for my skin tone. I think you have to be very, very fair for this to count as a bronzer. So a couple weeks back, I purchased the Le Beige Healthy Glow Sheer Powder in number 40 to use as a bronzer. I think it's a little bit warm on my skin tone, but it works, well, it works a lot better than this powder as bronzer. So I'm just gonna add some of this on to tan up my face a little bit. All right, I think that little bit of bronzer helped. So back to the bronzer highlighter duo. So I don't think this works on my skin tone. So let's go ahead and jump over to the highlighter. This looks very, very promising. This looks like it has a really, really pretty sheen, and I really like the tone of it. It's definitely on the warmer side. So I'm gonna take my Sonia G Sculpt 2 brush. I'm gonna make sure I've wiped it off completely here. There's the highlighter. It probably runs right in the middle, not too subtle, but also not like bling bling in your face. But once I catch the light there, I think it's pretty reflective. It just really kind of disappears as soon as I'm out of that light, but isn't that pretty? And it has such a nice, like warm, peachy tone to it. I really like it. Ooh, that's nice. I think for those of you out there looking for a really wearable kind of highlight, one that doesn't attract too much attention, one that you can wear to the office, I think this is a great one. That definitely makes up for this powder. I don't even know how I'll use this powder. I guess I could just use it as a powder. I don't have to use it as a bronzer because it is kind of like it works for my skin tone. Oh well, in terms of bronzer, but the highlight is nice. All right, so now we have the quad and we also have the eye glosses. So I was just looking on the Chanel site, and you can use these glosses alone, or you can use them over other eyeshadow. So why don't I go ahead and just show you quickly what these look like in the pot. So first we have Solaire. That is the more golden of the two. And here is a swatch of that. And then Lunaire is the more silvery one. And here is a swatch of Lunaire next to Solaire. So I feel like now that you've seen swatches of these two, I don't need to put these on my eyes alone. I think what I'll do is see how they work over this quad. So that'll be the plan for today. Let's go ahead and just jump right into this quad. So let's take a close look at this quad. I love how that CC emblem is like off kilter there. And here are some swatches. So you'll see here that the first and the last, the fourth shades, are like a shimmery shade. And then the two in the middle are matte shades. All right, so I'm going to start with this matte shade up here. I'm going to take my Sonia G Blender Pro brush, and I'm going to add this to the outer corner of my eye and into my socket line area. I love how subtle this shade is. It's like just a couple hints deeper than my natural skin tone. And so the dimension it gives is just really, really subtle. I'm going to take my Builder Pro brush and I'm going to go into this like coppery metallic shade, bottom right-hand corner. And I'm going to add some of this to the outer corner here. I'm going to take my Sonia G Builder 1 brush and I'm going to go into this top left metallic shade. And I'm going to put this right in the inner corner, inner portion of my lid, and just bring it over towards that copper shade. Now I'm going to take my Esom S33 brush and I'm going to go into this deeper matte shade and just add this to the outer corner and kind of like the outer half of my socket line just to add some dimension there. I really like how this is turning out. This is so pretty. All right, that's it for the eyeshadow quad. I love it. I love the tone of these shadows. I feel like these two mattes are like perfectly neutral, and then this is a little bit warm and this is a little bit cool. So everything just like plays really, really nicely together. They work beautifully. I love how easily they all blended out. So before I put the eyeglasses on, I think I should play with the crayons. So 3 new colors in the Stylo Ombre contours were released with this collection. As far as I know, these are not limited edition, but everything else that I've talked about or will talk about is limited edition. So the quad, the eyeglasses, and the bronzer highlighter duo, according to Chanel's site. And then these, I think, are part of the regular line. So first we have Pure Flesh, and this one is like a warm kind of taupe color. It's almost peach. It's not quite as orange as peach is, but it's close to peach. And this is a matte. There's definitely no shimmer in this Pure Flesh color. And then next we have Vague, and Vague is like a metallic, cool toned, like medium toned brown. So if you have electric brown in this crayon, or you've been watching me at all, I love the electric brown. I use it all the time. That one is a much more, chocolatey brown. It's a deeper brown than this one. And then last but not least, we have Metallic Flash. And this is like the crayon version of the top left color in the quad. It's like a warm gray metallic. It's very, very pretty. It's a warmer tone than just a flat out silver. So I think I want to play with the Metallic Flash and the Vague colors. The Pure Flesh, I'm not exactly sure how I would use that. I think it's too dark for my waterline, but maybe if I did a more simple eye look, this could come in handy. But today I'm going to focus on Metallic Flash and Vague. So I'm going to start with Metallic Flash on my waterline. Because of its shimmeriness too, I'm going to add a little bit to like my inner corner and the inner portion of my lid here. And now I'm going to take Vague and I'm going to tight line with this. I don't know if it's going to be dark enough. I think so. Oh, I don't know if you guys are familiar with these. I'm sorry, I just assumed that you guys are, but these twist up and down, which is really, really handy. And you can also pull the bottom off and you can kind of sharpen up the tip of this if you need to. All right, those are the 2 crayons applied. I really like the Metallic Flash for the waterline. It gives like a little bit of something without, it being too stark. And then the Vague color, I think, is a really nice kind of like lash line definer. It's again not too stark and it plays really nicely with the quad. Like it's just sort of a nice earthy kind of look. So those are definitely a success. Let's move on to the eyeglasses now, just because I'm so curious about these. So I'm gonna have to use Lunaire on one eye and Solaire on the other just to see. And I went on to the Chanel site to see how they suggest using this, and they said either under eyeshadow alone or over eyeshadow, it works fine. They have this little video of a model applying it, and I love Chanel, but these are the most worthless videos in the entire world. She takes the little brushes that are included, let me show you, which is this little itty bitty thing. It has like a flat shader basically, and she's just kind of like dabbing her eyelid, and she said, and apply it just like this, with a beautiful French accent, of course, but it's really like, it's really pointless. So I have my Esom W21 brush. This is like a flat shader as well. This is sable hair. I'm going to go into Lunaire first. That's the silver one. The consistency of these glosses, they almost feel like a lip balm when you put your finger in there. They're not goopy. Like if you've used the Kevyn Aucoin diamond eyeglosses, I think they're called. Those are very kind of goopy. These are a little bit more similar to like the Surratt lid lacquers. They're smoother and a little bit denser than like a goopy gloss. But I do know that generally if I use a light layer with the Surratt lid lacquers, it's a little bit more successful. So that's what I'm going to do with the Chanel. Again, I have Lunaire, and I guess I'll just tap this onto the center of my lid. It definitely picked up some of the eyeshadow underneath, so I definitely recommend kind of tapping this eyegloss on. I wouldn't sweep because I think that would make kind of a mess, although I'm sure that seems like common sense, but I thought I would just mention that. So I think tapping it is nice. It definitely adds like a really nice gloss, I have to say. I like the finish of it. It really looks like a satin sheen. It doesn't really look, again, I keep using the Kevyn Aucoin diamond eye gloss, but that one's like a really high shine, wet looking kind of eye gloss. And this is definitely a little bit more subdued, but I think it gives like a really nice like finish there. So that is the Lunaire. Let's go ahead and try the Solaire. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna tap it onto the center of my lid. You know, when I'm working with it with the brush, it definitely feels a little bit more tacky than when I just kind of finger swatch it. Like there's a little, I feel like there's a little bit of tack when I do this with my brush. Like I can feel it stick just a little bit. I really, really like these eyeglosses. I think that they give like just enough of a sheen there to make your lids look like they're moist, but they don't look like overly wet and goopy and messy. They definitely don't look messy, and I think that's always been my issue with previous eyeglasses that I've tried. Again, I keep bringing up the Kevyn Aucoin, but I know there are other ones out there. But these and the lid lacquers I find to be very, very similar. These are even a little bit more stiff than the lid lacquers. The lid lacquers have a little bit more emollients. They'll like slide onto your lids a little bit more. These have a little bit more of like a lip balmy kind of like tack to them. I plan on keeping this makeup on for the rest of the day. I will definitely put either in the description box or leave a pinned comment as to how these wore, if it really kind of like broke down the powder shadow underneath, if they started to crease, if they started to move or do anything like that. I will leave like an update on how these eyeglasses wore. But right now I feel like because of its consistency, I feel pretty confident that they're not going to do anything too funky. Okay, so that is everything that I purchased. Let me go ahead and just finish up the rest of my makeup. I'll be right back and we'll do like a quick recap of everything. All right, I am back. So quick recap of everything. The bronzer highlighter duo. The bronzer is not a bronzer, not for someone with my skin tone. So this was a little bit of a disappointment, but this highlighter is really beautiful. I love the subtlety of it, but I love that it's obviously there. It really gives a really beautiful shine. The kind of peachy rosy tone to it I think is perfect for my skin tone, unlike the bronzer. So this highlight definitely makes up for this lack of bronzer. So I may look into the deeper shade of this compact, but I do feel like the bronzer in that one is too deep. So that's the bronzer highlighter duo. Next up we have the quad. I love this quad. You guys know I'm a sucker for the neutral brown tones. I just think they make for just a really easy, sophisticated, elegant kind of eyeshadow look. You don't ever have to do much with like a neutral brown. You can just put it on the outer corner, add a little bit of dimension, and you're done. You know, you can just add a little bit of eyeliner, a little bit of mascara. But I like how they made this just a wee bit more exciting with the two metallic shades. This one, I love this kind of warm, silvery, metallic shade. It always looks like liquid mercury to me. It's like probably one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow colors, like in general. From anyone who wants to make it, I would probably love it. So this is a big win for me. This whole palette I love. It's just in my wheelhouse. It's something I'm comfortable with. I know I'm going to want to travel with this. I know I'm going to want to reach for this every day. I feel like this is maybe a deeper version of the Claire Obscure palette. Actually, why don't we compare that? Hang on one second. All right, I grabbed 3 palettes that I thought maybe there were some similar shades in there. So the first one I grabbed is number 268, and that's the one from fall 2016. I feel like the top right-hand corner of both of these may be similar. Let's swatch those two. So this is from this cruise collection, and then this is from 268. So this one looks a little bit deeper, but they are very, very close. And then I don't think any of the other shades are very similar in there. And then next I have Claire Obscure, so that is this guy. And again, this one looks much warmer next to this one, doesn't it? Maybe the top right hand and the lower left hand of this. Let's swatch those. So here is this cruise collection, and this is the one from Claire Obscure. So this one is lighter. I think these are a bit more dissimilar than these. This is a little bit closer. But I feel like that's it. You know, when you put them next to each other, you can see how much cooler this palette is compared to this one. And then I thought, why don't we compare it to the 9 pan, since we're talking neutrals here. I think this shade down here in the bottom left-hand corner of this cruise palette may be similar to this one. So this shade, and then this shade. Yep, those are very similar. This maybe has a little bit more red in the undertone, but very, very close. And then I'm going to compare this coppery shade, I'm going to do that up here, to this shade. I think this one's a little bit more gold. This one is far too deep, but this one could be similar. Let's see. No, this one's much more gold. Let me swatch this one also. Yeah, that one's darker. So this one kind of falls between these two. So this is from the cruise quad, and then these two are from the 9 pan. So I really, really enjoy this quad. I think I got a really beautiful eye look out of it. I don't think you need to use all 4 of the colors. You know, you can keep it really, really simple and just use maybe one of the matte shades, or pair one of the matte shades with one of the metallic shades for like a 2-color eyeshadow look. I think that would be great for, you know, daytime or the office, or just, you know, like an everyday kind of look, something really easy. So I'm loving that quad, and I love the quality of it. The formula is just like the recent quads, the 2 mattes, creamy and buttery, just like the Claire Obscure. And then those shimmery shades are beautiful. They just have a really nice like sheen to them. Beautiful. I just love it. And they just blend it out beautifully. So those are my thoughts on the quad. And then the Stylo Ombre contours, I love these. They always stay put for me. The metallic flash, I think, is really beautiful in the waterline. It gives you that little something without, you know, doing anything too crazy. And then the eyeglasses. You guys just heard how much I really enjoy them so far, how I think the formula is quite different from other eyeglasses I've used. They're a little bit denser and just a touch tackier than the Surratt lid lacquers. They're much denser than any kind of like goopy eyegloss that I've tried. It just gives your lids like a little bit of like glow to them without making them look too wet. So that is it. I'm really enjoying this cruise collection so far. Everything works really, really well together except for that bronzer. And that's it. So let me know if you have any questions down below in the comment section. If you have a skin tone similar to mine and you took a risk and got the darker bronzer and highlighter duo, will you please let me know down below if the bronzer and the highlighter, if they both worked out for you, or if they ended up being too dark, or maybe if you saw them in store. Just give me your thoughts on that, because I just wonder if I should order it or not. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.